All right, so we are going to solve quadratic systems. They're two quadratic equations. Imagine two parabolas. Where those two parabolas cross each other, those are going to be your solutions. So we said we're going to use substitution because that's what it recommended. It is not the only way to solve this problem. And if any of you chose to do elimination, I'll ask you to share your work so that we can see what that looks like. So I'm going to put x squared plus 2x minus 9 instead of the y here, because my second equation says it equals y. So if they're equal, you can substitute one for the other. So instead of y, I have x squared plus 2x minus 9. And then on this side, I've got 2x squared plus 8x minus 1. Now I need to make one side 0, and thinking ahead, I want my x squared to be positive. So should I subtract x squared from both sides or subtract 2x squared from both sides? I'm going to subtract the x squared from both sides because I want to keep my x squared positive for the factoring. So minus the x squared there. So since I'm doing that, it's the left side that I'm going to make 0. So to make the left side 0, I'm going to also subtract 2x. And I'm going to add 9. And doing all of that on the left side, everything is canceling, 0. And then on the right side, I just need to subtract 2x squared minus 1x squared is 1x squared. 8x minus 2x is 6x. And negative 1 plus 9 is 8. Okay, I'm going to pause for a minute because those of you who have not been in class, it takes a minute to absorb putting those two equations together. All right, so I'm going to look for the numbers that multiply to 8 and add to 6. So for 8, I'm thinking 1 times 8, 2 times 4. Do either of those add to 6? Good. All right. Okay, so the zero product property tells you that when 0 is the answer to your multiplication problem, one of the things you're multiplying has to equal 0. That's the only way to get 0 for your answer. So you're going to set each factor equal to 0. So I get x equals negative 2. And then on this one, I should get negative 4. Okay, so we decided that we were going to substitute back into the second equation. You can choose always. So first I'm going to substitute the negative 2 in. So I'm taking this equation over here. Y equals the square of negative 2 plus 2 times negative 2 minus 9. If you are using Desmos, remember to put that negative 2 in parentheses before you square it. Okay, you should get 4 minus 4, which is 0, minus 9, which is negative 9. And that gives you the point, negative 2 for your x, negative 9 for your y. Okay, I want you to do the same exact thing, but now this time you're going to substitute in negative 4. All right, I'm getting 16 minus 8 minus 9, which is negative 1. Anybody else get negative 1? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up Desmos and see if I can see the two parabolas crossing at those points. And I want you to do that too, because when you take a quiz next class, you can check all your answers with Desmos. Okay, so since y equals x squared plus 2x minus 1, I can substitute that for the y there. All right, which side would you like to make 0? The left side? It's going to work because either way I had the same amount of x squared. So we're going to make the left side 0, subtract the x squared, subtract the 2x, and add the 1. All right, so I got 0, cancels, and 2. And since that's never true, it's no solutions. That was nice because everything canceled and it was a really quick problem. All right, so now you guys are going to try number 3. I'm going to let you start it on your own. All right, so in the beginning, most of you put this for the y right here. So you started with x squared plus 4x plus 3 equals negative 3x squared plus 12x minus 1. And I saw a lot of you moved the these over here, and then you ended up with a negative 4x squared. You can still deal with that, but it does make your life a little bit harder. So I'm going to suggest you try to keep your x squared positive. And this time I'm going to move everything on this side. If you wrote it backwards, it's okay. We're saying two things are equal to each other. It doesn't matter if one's equal on the left and one's equal on the right. Okay? So if you started with your side switch, not a problem. What I am suggesting is that we don't want to have a negative x squared, so let's add to both sides there. Then let's subtract this 12x. And let's add the 1. Okay, so we're going to get 4x squared minus 8x plus 4 equals 0. All right, so let's see how you did with the factoring. What were the numbers that multiply to 1 and add to negative 2? Negative 1 and negative 1. So I've got x minus 1 equals 0. You don't have to solve that 2 times. You know you're going to get the same answer, right? So I'm going to just solve it once. I need some space, maybe over here. X minus 1 equals 0. Oops, you can't see that. And then we got 1. Would you guys prefer to put that back in the first equation or the second? The second one looks a little bit simpler, so I agree. 1 squared plus 4 times 1 plus 3. So I'm getting 8. Did you guys get 8? So it only had one solution, 1, 8, one solution. All right, good news on the back. We're going to do a really easy strategy. We are only going to solve with Desmos. All right, so open up your Desmos and let's put these equations in. Bless you. Again on the video. So for this one, after we put the 2 equations in, we zoomed in really close to see if it was 1 solution or 2, and it was just 1 solution. We do want to kind of try to graph these on our papers too, so I'm going to mark that important point -1, -6 on my paper. And then I need to graph, let's see, this one has a vertex at -1.5, 6.25. And then this one has a vertex at -1.25. It's very close. Yeah, so I mean, when you're graphing them and to graph the solution, you should have the vertex graphed. And then You should probably have some other points graphed too. This one goes through -3 and this one goes through -4. So the lower one goes through -4, like that. And then the higher one went through -3. Okay. So my graph doesn't look lovely, but I did try to show the two graphs to see where they crossed. And my answer was -1, -6, right? Okay.